what makes things viral? Is it authenticity? Is it
That's one thing.
Is
Sure.
it something joyful or what?
Each
People are
of
also very negative. People are also very
Sure.
negative. So is it negativity if that's what works?
contempt is part of it for
yeah.
sure. But I think the thing that creates shareability is that in the end, so there's this interesting statistic that when we sit and we talk in conversations, we talk. If you sit at lunch with some friends, you talk about yourself about 30% of the time, right? And you've been out to lunch with someone who doesn't stop talking about themselves, and it's like you never want to go out to lunch with them again, right?
Yeah.
When you go online, that number jumps to 80%. So online, it's all about me, right? And so what we're doing online is that we're actually creating a brand. We're actually creating this perception of who we are, right? And so the sharing is very much individual. It's very much personal. So you might share different things than I might share. And there might be some things that we have in common, but in the end, the things that we are sharing are a representation of who we are, what we believe, what our stance is, how we see the world, and so the things that the things that we share, like if I am a big supporter of LGBT issues, then I'll probably share that, like even if that comes from a brand.
Yes.
I'm going to share it because I want to show the world.
So then values as well.
Absolutely, values, humor, anything. But the key to that is what I call social currency. So social currency is essentially everything that you want in life that money can't buy. So everything you want is to have a good time, to live a good life, to live in line with your values, to have respect, to have friends.
So, in the context of brands, perhaps what happens, and I think this becomes a challenge, that they want people to buy their product, and it's just that straightforward outcome that they're seeking.
Yes.
As human beings, we realize the need for a social currency and a social equity.
Exactly.
But perhaps as brand guardians or brand marketers, that realization is not there.
Right.
That has an indirect effect.
That's right.
It's not a direct effect. I don't go and say, I want to buy this product.
Right. Yes.
But typically things are being put in front of us, and if I want to buy it, okay, I'll go to the website.
Yeah, correct.
But beyond that,
right.
Which is not direct selling. How much should a brand be investing in that? I don't think people think about that.
Well, I think the way to think of it is that we no longer just purchase products. We want relationships. Right. So the brands that we choose more and more are brands that reflect who we are.
Right.
And so the relationship. So when a brand builds a relationship with you, it's far beyond. Another way to look at this. I'll give you another example. So you've got a company that makes green shoes, right? Now they make the best green shoes, the greenest shoes that you can buy, right? And people begin to buy their green shoes. Anyone who wants green shoes buys them from this company. But then one day another company comes along that also makes these green shoes, and they make them a little bit greener and a little bit cheaper. And what happens is that everybody suddenly jumps over to this other company. Why? Because there's no relationship built. And so by using content, what I would say is that what is the goal of advertising? The goal of advertising is, as you well know, is a call to action. Is like, I'm going to pick up a phone and order a pizza, right? That's what advertising wants you to do. What content creation wants you to do is what content creation wants to do is to build a relationship with you rather than just sell you the product, because the relationship is long term. It's much deeper.
It's this whole thing of the elephant and the rider.
Okay.
So the elephant, so the rider is the rational mind.
Okay.
Okay, and the elephant is the emotional mind.
Okay.
The rider thinks it's deciding where the elephant goes, but the elephant knows where it wants to go.
Correct.
And so the emotional mind, perhaps the heart, is what is getting impacted through the branded content.
For sure. Well, it can also
a call to action, but it's more
for sure
creating that connection and that relationship, which is far deeper. I'm very scared of the day where I may not want to buy an Apple phone.
Exactly.
I'm scared of that day.
But can I tell you something interesting about Apple phones, Sonia? Apple phones are not the best phone in the market.
But I don't want to hear that.
But if you look at the specs, everybody knows it. When I tell people that, the entire room begins laughing because everyone knows it. If you look at the specs, it's not the best phone.
Yeah, but don't tell me, because I want to live in denial.
Exactly, because we like Apple.
Yeah.
We like the story of Steve Jobs. They've created all of this.
We like the fact that they made the effort to create an OS that's stable, to create products, to innovate, to do things which others have not done, which everybody else is copying.
And so there's the thing.
Kind of person,
we want to be. So I want to be perceived as innovative. I want to be perceived as a digital nomad, and being innovative and creative. And so for me, how could I possibly use a PC that would just be completely antithetical to who I am? And so that relationship is really hard to break, and that's why Apple doesn't need to talk about their products. They never do, But if you go to Dell or HP or whatever, they're all talking about their product. They're all talking specs, and I'm like, I don't care about your specs, because what I want is this perception.
In that sense, Steve Jobs' last big sort of gig was his book.
Yes.
So he had to make sure that the right guy wrote the book,
Right.
Because that for him is branded content.
Absolutely.
Which will stay around long after he's gone.
Exactly. It'll stay. Well, and it's interesting because I think that Apple has also suffered since Steve Jobs left. We've seen sort of a shift in some of the design thinking, and there's some maybe mistakes that they're starting to make, and
or maybe we think that.
Maybe that's what I was just gonna say. Or maybe we believe that because Steve is not.
Believe that,
because Steve is the story, and so what I would say is that the Trojan Horse.
Yeah.
So the Greeks, they built this horse and they hid the soldiers inside, right? And I think what happens with story is that we put our brand and we put our product, but we wrap it in story, and so it's in there. The values are in there. The product is in there. All these things are inside of this story. But as human beings, we want story. Like, it's in our DNA to want story. We want. I mean, if you think about it, what is the Bhagavad Gita? Is a story about overcoming obstacles, and that's why we want we want that we want to see that struggle. It's like Hindi films. Boy meets girl, boy and girl can't be together. They're for whatever reason.
After a good story.
Exactly, and we want to believe that everything is possible, And so Nike tells us, just do it, man, And Richard Branson. Exactly, Richard Branson is telling us, just have fun, live life, enjoy, So all these companies that are giving us story, it's really compelling, and it really brings us in it. But I think what you said in the beginning, that authenticity is absolutely crucial. In other words, you can't fake it. I say that. I hope I can swear, but I think that we have like this bullshit meter. And as soon as we see inauthenticity, our bullshit meter goes, and we're like, no, that's fake. Like, we know it right away. And when we feel authenticity, it's really attractive, And I think that's so much more powerful than talking about product or brand, And so what I try to do, and I do this workshop, in fact, for my own clients, because I want them, then when we go with a project and they say, where's the product, where's the brand? And if I do this workshop with them first, then when we take them ideas, they get it. And they accept it.
Okay, I have another question for you. Why did you choose the bun? What do you think of it?
I think it's an incredible idea.
I told you, it's a bit like Supergirl. People going past, they're like, is it a bird? Is it a plane? Is it a plant showroom? Is it an upholstery shop?
Yes.
What the hell is this? So, from our point of view, we're trying to create a new space, a creator space.
Yes.
Right? If, at one time it was important to open up minds and make knowledge accessible, and you had TED and you had all of that. But with the digital revolution, I think people want to stop being sort of passive participants and want to become creators.
Yes.
So we created a creation space.
Right.
Okay. But we're taking our own time to explain it to people. I mean, just the first phase is over.
Right.
But what did you see? What did you think? And what did you think when you came here?
Well, first of all,
because when you say it, maybe it's explained better than how people would on their own understand it.
So, I mean, I think first of all, you and Girish. I mean, I know that the two of you, I know that whatever you do is going to be spectacular because that's what you've always done. But you know, I think that what happens is, you know, if we use this word disruptive, right? So what is disruptive? Disruptive is when you take something new and familiar, but you break the rules, right? And so, and the fact that you call it a barn is actually interesting. Why? Because we know what a barn is. You didn't come up with some fancy name that you. No, it's a barn. Okay. But and so we've got the familiar, which is this idea of a space, this idea of where things grow, where things are cultivated, right? But then what you did is you say, we're going to take cultivation and growth and all these things, and we're going to disrupt it. We're going to like break the rules, so that instead of, for example, what you told me, you know, that instead of just doing, you know, one thing, like one sort of link, you know, we just do design, right? Or we just do execution or production. No, it's like we're gonna create a space where the whole process happens, and really where anything is possible. I mean, the idea of design, build, spread. Is that the right order?
Yes.
Design, build, spread.
Yes.
And Chajao, exactly. And so you are actually saying, listen, it doesn't matter what the execution is, because it could be architecture, it could be graphic design, photography, video, you know, AR, VR. That's not the important thing. The thing is the process.
Right.
And to me, that's like, so for me to be here, especially like right at the launch of this, is such a huge honor, you know, honestly.
It's an honor for us to have you here, and for us to sort of create a standard from which we can only rise upwards.
Yeah.
We don't have a choice.
It's wonderful. It's really cool, and the fact that you and I, you know, started together working so many years ago, and it's like to come full circle, you know, to come back to India after having gone off for 16 years and be here is really amazing.
And I have a tree that grew from the seed from our first
Oh my God,
assignment.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's literally a big tree now. Yeah.
Incredible. So yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.